Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending the Board of Appeals meeting for the City of Holland. Board members are regular citizens of Holland who have volunteered and have been appointed by City Council to consider applications to the Zoning Board of Appeals, Housing Board of Appeals, the Construction Board of Appeals, and accommodations for persons with disabilities. This board must interpret each application as it relates to city ordinances. This board is not empowered to rezone or take any action that could be considered rezoning. The agenda is in the order that the applications were received by the city. The presence of 4 board members is required for a quorum. It also takes 4 concurring votes to approve applications. If there are only 4 board members present, then the applicant may request to table their application. When your application is called, we ask that you come to the microphone at the podium and state your name and address. We will hear the applicant explain their application, and then the board will have the opportunity to ask questions. We will have a public hearing where members of the public or other interested parties may address the board regarding the application. If anyone is here to give public comment, we will allow each person to speak 1 time. Comments shall be directed to the board and comments must be limited to 5 minutes. The board does not engage in dialogue during the public comment period. This is one-way communication between the public and the board. Staff can answer questions at the conclusion of the meeting or follow up at a later date. After the public hearing on each application is closed, there will be no further opportunity for public comment as it relates to the application. Decisions of the board are final and are effective on the day of such decision. Applicants may appeal decisions to the circuit court in accordance with state law. If you elect not to stay for our deliberation and decision, you may call the Community and Neighborhood Services Department after 8:30 tomorrow morning to learn the results. Meetings are streamed live and online and recorded and available to view on the city's YouTube channel. Does anyone want to motion to change the order of the agenda?
George, I'll move to change the order of the agenda, and we'll move item 6 up and do new business.
A second.
After approval of minutes.
All right, we got a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. Will the clerk please read the first agenda item then?
First item on the agenda is 554 Elm Drive, application 26.01Z.
Wait.
Gordon
wait.
Julius.
Can
What?
we do the minutes
minutes.
first?
Oh.
Sorry.
Wait.
Right, Teja, you said after the minutes? Yeah. There's nobody here for public comment, so I think we can skip public comment, but let's do minutes and then let's do 554. I think you read the agenda item. So I think you just say draft minutes from December 4, 2025. And then somebody will need to motion, somebody will need to second, and then normally we can do a voice vote on that too.
Okay, item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for December 4th, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, next agenda item, please.
Okay, so it's 554 Elm Drive, application 26.01Z. Gordon Julius, on behalf of the property owner, Lisa Rabori, is requesting a special exception to build an addition within the existing setback line of the home at 554 Elm Drive. The addition will be at 2.49 feet from the south property line, where a 7-foot setback is required. The Board of Appeals may approve the request if certain conditions are found to exist.
Could the applicant approach the podium, state their name and address, and explain the application?
Hi, my name's Gordon Julius. Thank you, Tricia, and thank you to the board for moving me up particularly. This is an application for a small addition to the south side of the building, which affects the west side of the building, which affects the south line of the building. We have moved. I'm assuming everybody knows, since we've been through this a month ago, what the conditions are and the situation is, but I'm open to answering the questions. We've got 48 square feet that are added to the building. We put it initially at the along the line of the south wall, and we've moved it to 2.5 feet more or less north of that original placement. So effectively, we've got about 2.5 feet of more setback.
Are there any questions from the board?
Gordon, could you remind us what is in this addition? Is this just the mech room?
Yeah, it's just mechanical unit and a hot water heater.
Were there any additional changes aside from the setback itself, like any
No.
design changes?
No, just a reduction in the square footage of the space.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions from the board, I don't see anyone present for public comment. Staff, have we received any written comments regarding this application?
We have not.
All right, at this time, we will close the public hearing. The board will now deliberate.
Or you can make a motion if there's no deliberation.
I would like to move to approve this application for the special exception at 554 Elm Drive.
I'll
Seconded.
second that.
You take it.
All right, can we move on to findings of fact? All right. Let's answer these questions, guys. With the addition to the house. Oh. Findings of fact, okay. Okay, thanks. Would the addition to the house be along or within the existing side setback line of the existing building? Yes, the applicant has submitted a drawing that displays that the new addition would be within and along the existing setback. Is the use of the building conforming for this zone district? I think in study session we looked at the map overview of the neighborhood, and the residential use of this building is conforming for the zone district. I remember we talked about that last month, that it is currently a rental, right? Is the encroachment in character with the existing neighborhood? I think almost same goes. We looked at the neighborhood. Go ahead, Eric. If you guys
Yeah.
want to say.
Yes, because looking at the neighborhood, other houses encroach similarly, or maybe even more.
These older neighborhoods kind of have that character, don't they? Will the addition to the home along the side property line be detrimental to the adjoining property or to the neighborhood? I feel like no, it would not be detrimental, especially with the additional information too that currently, we talked about this last month, that the property owner of this property does own the property next door as well. Any other thoughts? Sufficient, Rachel?
All right, we have sufficient findings of fact. Motion was made by Board Member Lambers to approve the application and seconded by Board Member Lockery. Clerk, can you call for a vote?
Okay, the motion is to approve. Lambers, how do you vote?
Yes.
Lockery?
Yes.
Falstad?
Yes.
Van Antwerp?
Yes.
Benitez?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, can the clerk please read the next item on the agenda?
Next item on the agenda is for 1033 Lincoln Avenue, application 25.08Z. Rob Horton, on behalf of RCP Development LLC, is requesting a variance for site lighting at a proposed gas station located at 1033 Lincoln Avenue. The proposed light levels are up to 65-foot candles on the site where 15-foot candles are allowed, and up to 1.1-foot candles at the property line where 0.5-foot candles are allowed. The Board of Appeals may approve the request if certain conditions are met.
All right, thank you. Applicant, please state your name and address.
Yep, my name is Mandy Goss. I'm with CESO, the engineer on the project. My address is 13060 South US Highway 27, Suite D, DeWitt, Michigan, 48820.
Great, and can you quickly explain the application?
Yes. Thanks for having us back again. And appreciate you guys taking a look at the revised plan that was submitted. As you can see on the screen, just to kind of give you a quick brief overview again, the site is located, again, adjacent to that trailer park, which is part of the reason I know some of the concerns are for the increased lighting. And our driveway access is on actually Lincoln and not on 31. Sorry, my brain is blanking all of a sudden. I don't know why it does that when I get up here, so I apologize. So just to kind of point out, though, I know the next slide, you'll see there is significant trees between our development and the trailer park to the south. So there will be some natural barrier there that will also help block some of this light. The back side of our site along the property line, we are meeting your codes. It's just the front side of the site under the canopy that we're requesting a variance for elevated light levels. Just to point out too, there is that yellow area is a 100-foot easement, scenic easement with MDOT. So we cannot build within that. We have to remain further set back from the roadway, which also kind of decreases some of the visibility as well for the travelers on the roadway getting to the site. So with our access only being on Lincoln Avenue, it helps for them to be able to see where the site is, to get to the driveway site access, and to safely enter the site. So it is important to have proper lighting for a gas station. Some things to point out specifically, I did just do a little bit of research just since I was here last, just kind of more out of curiosity as well. I know your codes you say were generated based on adjacent or similar codes within the state. I just did a quick AI search on how many codes limit lighting levels to 15, and it only pulled up like 4 locations throughout the U.S. or throughout Michigan. Sorry, not U.S. Throughout Michigan, and I think it had 8 total that were 20-foot candles or less that it pulled up. There may be more, but that was just the quick AI research, AI overview. So I do think that, I mean, I've worked in the state since 2004, and I very rarely come across a restricted ordinance with this low light levels. So just to kind of point that out, I don't know if it's something you guys should revisit, but for safety reasons, it is a concern. Having light levels under 15-foot candles, especially in a high traffic area like a canopy or auto use, is a safety concern. One, it reduces criminal deterrence to have lighter lights. The low light levels create dark and shadow areas, increases potential crime, theft, vandalism, which of course we don't want on our site. Increases slip and fall hazards because you have less visibility. You might not see someone, especially I know as I age, my eyes are less responsive as it gets dark. So you might not see that little bit of change in grade in the pavement. We hope it doesn't heave. Ideally, we don't want that, but we all know we live in Michigan and that's not always the case. So it does reduce having slip and fall hazards, having proper light levels. For operational, low light levels make it difficult for customers to read the fuel dispenser screens. For increases the risk of collisions and pedestrian and car issues as well when you have vehicles and pedestrians walking to the building and then cars trying to pull in if they don't have proper light levels. It is a very big safety and security concern for us as from 7-Eleven's point of view. So that is the reason, again, we are here today requesting this. We did, as if you remember, go to some of the sites nearby. What we had submitted at the last meeting for approval did have higher light levels. I mean, we were looking more at like the 60s is what we prefer under our canopies from a 7-Eleven standpoint. So we went out and took some look at a couple sites. The Speedway gas station, one of the ones that was brought to our attention that was very bright, I don't know which one, that Speedway's up there. The Speedway gas station that on 16th was one that people mentioned isn't overly bright. It doesn't get a lot of comments about the light readings. I went out and took some readings, and that was about 43-foot candles underneath that canopy, just to kind of give you an idea of what it is in the dark when you're out there at night. The one that you guys mentioned gets a lot of complaints is the mobile station that's across the street from the trailer park. That one is actually reading at 62-foot candles under the canopy. So to give you an idea of the differences in light levels, just because it's hard when you just hear a number to really visualize it and see it. So I wanted to kind of point that out. So again, our first one we submitted was more in line with the mobile gas station. That's what was here last month. The revised plan that we had last month, however, you guys were not allowed to review because you didn't have it prior to the meeting, is what we submitted for this meeting. And we went back to the drawing board and took a look, and 7-Eleven's minimum for security is an average of 25-foot candles under the canopy. That's what they're looking for. Anything below that has to be approved by the powers that be at 7-Eleven for safety and security. Their security cameras don't work as well when you don't have proper lighting, just in general safety concerns for the customers. It's just all around a safety issue. With that, what the revised plan that we submitted does have the higher light levels under the canopy than what your code allows. I think our maximum on that plan, let me open it up so I can see it with my screen here. Sorry, zoom in. These numbers are little. So under the gas canopy on the proposed plan, we have a max light level of 35, a minimum of 15, and an average is 28 is what we're looking for approval tonight. Everywhere else on the site, we did try to be aware of your 15 max. I think just in the driveway approach, we had 15.9 for an average, though, of 5.15 throughout the driveway approach. Again, we want people to be able to see the driveway and enter the site safely. It is important to be able to get there and access the site. Overall, I know the intent of your code is to not have an overly lit, super bright site. Our intent is to have a safe site as well. So that is the reason for this request. Again, if you just look into the industry standard, 30 to 50 foot candle under a canopy is normal for what you will see at a gas station. So I feel like what we are requesting is on the lower side of industry standard. And I hope that, we did make an attempt, obviously not going with that 60 and trying to meet in the middle, but for safety reasons, it's just very important for this site to have proper lighting. So we appreciate you taking a look at the request, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. We'll open it up to questions from the board.
Is this, is your operating hours 24 hours a day?
Yes, it is going to be a 24-hour site.
Okay. And I think, did you say that this was approved by the Planning Commission?
So the site plan is approved, excuse me, we already have permits in hand. They're already starting construction out there. Only thing is, right now, obviously they're not putting lighting up yet. It's too early in the project. So we would just have to modify the plans to show the revised lighting if it does get approved and update the electrical plans. But other than that, we have an approved plan with them that met your lighting ordinances. It just doesn't meet 7-Eleven's minimum standards. Again, after we were here for the Planning Commission, the process goes, we go through entitlements with the developer first, and then once we get construction documents complete, we submit to 7-Eleven for their internal audit and review, and that's when this was brought to light that it doesn't meet their minimum standards. And they'd asked us to see what we could do for their, again, liability and safety. They wanted to make sure that this site is not going to be a problem.
When you began work on the project, were you aware, or were the owners aware of the current lighting standards?
I was aware. I wasn't aware of their standards, so I apologize. From the engineering side, I should have been more aware of my 7-Eleven design guidelines. I was not aware of that requirement, so that was kind of on me as well for not catching it early on in the project. Now I know. Now I'll pay better attention. But unfortunately, I was not aware of that, so I apologize.
Okay.
Mandy, my question is, if we were to deny, what would happen to the project?
Yeah, if you were to deny, honestly, they're under construction. I hate to say that. They're going to have to move forward with the project now. It's just more of a security risk, and it kind of takes some of the liability off of 7-Eleven if something were to happen, because we tried to get proper lighting, and if there is an issue down the line, we don't want to say it's going to happen, but then it kind of takes the risk a little bit off of 7-Eleven because they could not do it. They tried and could not.
Is 7-Eleven itself the entity that will own and operate this location?
Yes, so it is a developer build, but 7-Eleven will be the owner operator, and they are leasing it from the developer they have a 20-year lease.
And is the developer asking for this variance?
Well, the developer is Rob Horton with RCP. So he's asking on behalf of 7-Eleven, since it's their requirements.
So, have you ever had any negative action taken against you due to the 15 requirement that's in place?
I
Generally,
honestly
no?
have not had one go in that's ever had this low lighting levels. I started on working on speedways before they were acquired by 7-Eleven back in probably 2015. I've done a lot of speedways throughout Michigan. And then I had a little lull from 21 to 23 when 7-Eleven was trying to figure stuff out after they acquired Speedway and started them back up. And I can't tell you that I've had a site that's ever had light levels below 15 as the max. Or if they did, we got a variance.
Mind if I ask a quick question? Just a quick question on foot candles. Is that a cumulative, or is it like in a certain, does the ambient light of a light next to it impact the light next to it? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So how the foot candles are measured, all of the lights do take into account each other, if that makes sense, in the software when they run it. And it would be your light at grade. So if all those lights, so like you can add more lights closer together, but when you have a canopy and you're at a certain height, your light distribution becomes non-uniform, basically. So you'll have a brighter spot, but then you'll have dimmer spots, and you don't have good uniformity. And light uniformity is very important to a site so you don't have dark spots, light spots, and just for consistent lighting. And because of the height of the canopies and your lights underneath them, it's hard if you reduce the light levels lower to have good uniformity and safety, because you can't just add a bunch of little lights because you're at 17 feet. You got to have them bright enough to project to the ground.
So there isn't a design solution that would get around this situation. Is that what we're saying?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I went out to like the car wash, I believe that was nearby that you mentioned met the light levels. And if you notice next to the vacuums, they have those LED strips that are low to the ground, closer to the car, so the light can be distributed and still feel like you have a brighter situation, and meet that light level. Where when you're under a canopy that's elevated, it's harder to get the uniformity with the height.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions from the board? All right, seeing no one here for public comment. Staff, have we received any other written comments regarding this application?
We have not.
All right, at this time, we will close public hearing and the board will deliberate. I'll just add that during study session, I think a lot of the conversation was around this board's responsibility to review applications against current ordinances and not to evaluate the efficacy of the ordinances, as to so not set precedent to for future applications. Would anyone like to add more comment or make a motion?
Yeah, just some comment. I have a feeling that there may be a compelling case to adjust zoning laws, but I don't legally think that this board would have the ability to do that. And it seems like if we were to allow this, we would essentially be creating a precedent that would be updating the law. So I guess I'm saying, George, kind of what you're saying in different words. So, agreed.
I'm gonna have to make a motion to deny this, just because we just don't want to set precedent for the future in anything. We need the ordinance to change if we were to give approval on this, and we just don't have that authority. Anybody gonna second that?
I'll second.
Findings of fact?
I can take some of these. I have quite a few written down. So, Are there unique circumstances or physical conditions with the property, such as narrowness, shallowness, shape, water, or topography? I would say no, because the property shape is not impacting the lighting in this case. So while it may impact the building, the lighting is not at stake there. Is that sufficient? Okay. Did the current property owner or previous owner do something that created the need for the variance? I'm gonna say no, because the site does not need to be developed. And by developing it, and in this way, we're creating the need for the variance. Oh, I'm sorry, yes. I meant yes on that one with that explanation, thank you. Next question is, will strict compliance with the required 15-foot candles unreasonably prevent the property owner from using the property for an allowed use? Or will complying with the rules be unnecessarily burdensome? And I would say no, because the initial plan was submitted, and it wouldn't be unnecessarily burdensome because the initial plan would have allowed it and can move forward that way. Is the requested foot candle levels the minimum necessary, or is there an amount that would provide similar relief? I would say no, it's not the minimum necessary. I think we compromised a little bit on the numbers, but we are still not back to the original proposal, which was at 15-foot candles, if I remember correctly. And that would tell me that we're not at the minimum level necessary. Does the board think that the requested variance will cause a negative impact on the neighbors? I would say no on this one, because light levels at the edges of the property conform to light limits. Did we get everything there? Okay. Excellent.
All right, we have a motion to deny the application from Board Member Lockery, seconded by Falstad. Clerk, will you call for a vote, please?
Yeah, so the motion is to deny. Lockery, how do you vote?
Yes.
Falstad?
Yes.
Lambers?
Yes.
Van Antwerp? Yes. And Benitez.
Yes.
All right, the motion passes.
Thank you.
I have a question for staff about that. Is, if they choose to go ahead with this project at the foot candle level that's required by the city's zoning board, zoning board, can they go back, can they just go ahead and move on this project? Because they've already complied with, the site plan's already been approved, and they're at the recorded level, so. they
Correct,
just go
they'll
ahead
have
and
to
move on.
submit an updated site lighting plan to the building department and updated electrical permit drawings. But yes, they can continue to move forward.
Okay.
And they would also, if they decided they wanted to change the ordinance, they could also submit an application to the planning commission requesting a text amendment.
Okay. Thank you.
And I will comment also that item number 7 on the agenda is the next meeting date is February 26th. The deadline for applications is next week, Thursday. I don't have any yet. I haven't talked to anyone. So I suspect we will not have a February meeting, but I will confirm with everybody at the beginning of the month.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All right, we're adjourned.